we should use this property format. This format we will see later in our training, but as of now we will see about JSON, XML and OData. Okay, OData, as we know it already. So these are all the supported formats of SAP UI5. Okay, so when it comes to the model, if the data format is in JSON, then we should use JSON model. If the data format is in XML, then we should use XML model. If it is a property format, then we use resource model. If it is OData, then we use OData model. Okay, these are all the models which are available in our SAP UI5 to handle these formatted data. Okay, when it comes to model, then we will be binding our data to the view using 3 bindings. Like one is a property binding, other one is element binding, one is aggregation binding. Okay, we see all these bindings one by one in our practicals. So let us say we have more data, like I'll say we have employees, EMP name, here we have employee details. If in case you have more employee details, then we have to use the term called array. In the JavaScript, you have to use term called array. Array will be enclosed with the bracket. Okay, now we have to end the first record. To start the second record, it will be like again. Employee EMP name, EMP designation, EMP cell. So let us assume this is our data source. Okay. Okay. So if you see the MVC pattern, which is responsible for the data? View is responsible for the UIs. Controller is responsible for business logics and controlling of browsing behaviors. And model is responsible for backend data. Okay, so this data source will be created under the model folder. We have seen in our project, like, see, the views are created under view folder. The controller is created under the control folder. So the models will be created under models folder. Okay. So do you have any question till now? Okay. So we will see in our practicals now. So I will, this is our view which we have created on Friday. This was our output. Okay, I will remove all the data bindings which we have done. First, let us go with the property binding. Okay, property binding is nothing but if you want to particularly point to any property of a data source, then you can use the property binding. Like for example, if I want to populate this company name in our view, then I can point the path as path can be created like this. If I say slash, the control will come here. Okay, the program control will be here. If you want to access the company name, you can directly write slash company name. So this path will give you the value of the company name of this data source. Okay, if I want to access the employee name, how will I access? I'll go for a slash, the control will be here. Okay, here employees is the another root, so I'll write employees. So inside the employees I have the employee name. What I will write slash, now the control will be here. Control will be here. See, you have two entries here, employee name and employee name. This is first entry and this is second entry. How will you differentiate this? In JavaScript, the array will start with 0. Okay, so this is array of 0 and this is the array of 1. So if I want to refer this particular employee name in the property binding, how will I do that? Slash employees slash the index name 1 slash emp name. This time it will give me the value of AAB. Okay, if I want to refer this employee name, then I have to use slash employees slash 0 slash emp name. This will give me the value of AAA. So this is how we are going to do the property binding. This is used when you want to refer a particular property of a data source which is common in all the object. Okay, see, the company name is common here. You don't want to include this company name in this object. So this is an object and this is an object. Okay, if you want to refer a particular property which is common to all the object, you can refer it as a property binding. Okay, we will implement the property binding in our code. So what I will do, we'll go here, we will implement the property binding for the company name. Okay, I'll remove this password. I'll go here. So before implementing the property binding, there are 3 steps to follow. One is create the model based on the data source format. Here we have the data in our JSON format. Okay. Second, assign the data source, the data, to the created model. We have created JSON model. Once you created the model, what you have to do? You have to assign the model to the view. I hope you understood. So what I'm saying is, we have to, since we know that we have the format in JSON format, since we have the data in JSON format, we have to create the JSON model first. Okay, for JSON format, we have to create the JSON model, and then you have to load the particular data from the data source to the model. Once the model is loaded with the data, you have to assign this particular model to the view. Okay, this is the process. Now, first of all, let us create the data source inside the web app. I'll go here, new folder. The data source should be under model folder. Model. New file. I'll say employee details dot. What kind of format it is? It is a JSON format. So you have to have the extension of dot JSON. How we will define now? Should start with open curly braces. Okay, all the field names should be enclosed with the double quotes. Let us see our UI. Based on this, we will create our data source. So we have the company name. I will say company name, comma. You should always use the colon literal. Since it is JavaScript, you should use colon. And then first name and last name. We will create another row called employees. Since it will hold many data, I am using an array. So the first employee detail will be first name, name 01. What is our next thing? Last name, last 01. So date of birth. What is the format? YYY MMDD. We will say 1991 MMDD. Then what do we have? Street / number. Or number 20, zip code, city, country, zip code, city, country. As of now, we limit with only one record to see the property binding, and then we'll see. So now we have created the model. Okay, now we have created, the data source. So now what we have to do, we have to create a model, and then we have to load the data of data source inside the model. We will see that step here in the controller. So first we have to create the model, where model is equal to, so since we don't know the syntax of the control, go to the SDK and check for JSON model. Okay, here we have the JSON model. Take the syntax, create. Now we have created the model. What is the next step? We have to assign the data source data to the created model. How we will assign? Model dot. Let us check if we have any method to assign the data. Okay, let us check. We have, this is the methods. Set properties. See, we have the load data is there. We can use this particular method to load the data. Model dot load data. Inside, you have to give your path of the model. What is the path of the model here? modl/employee underscore details dot json. So what it will do, from this path it will take the data and load it to this JSON model. 2 steps are done. Now the third step. Now what we have to do, we have to assign the created model to the view. How we will access the view from the controller? See, the Friday we have seen using this variable. This will point to the current context. It will point to the controller. This dot get view. It will get us the view which is associated with this particular controller. Which is the view it is? See, for this controller we have the view associated to it. We have got the view now. What we have to do? Set model. What is the model? Model. Now what we have done, we have assigned the created model to the view. Okay, we have set the model model to the view. Here just I have assigned the model to the view. I didn't do any binding now. There is no binding here. Company name, there is nothing, no binding here. If I execute, I should not get anything like any value. See, there is no value now. Now we will see about the property binding. We'll go to the controller. So we will do the property binding to this input. Okay, the company name. I will take this ID of the company name. We will do the property binding. How will I access this particular ID from the control? Again, use this dot get view dot by ID. This is accessing the ID of this particular view. ID company name. Okay, this is accessed in the controller. You have got the access to this particular ID dot. Since we don't know what method to use, please go to the SDK and go to the controller. Since you are writing in the controller, SAP.UI, go to the controller, check for the controller. See, SAP.UI controller is there. Go to this particular method. What we have used, get view dot by ID. We'll check for the by ID. See, by ID is there. Check for the return type. Here, check for the property. Property binding. Bind. See, we have the method called bind property. Take this method. Go here. Dot bind the property. What it is saying, it holds 2 parameters. One is yes name and binding info. The first parameter will tell us what is the property of the view, for which you want to bind it. Okay. So what is the property of the view which we are trying to bind? See, the property of the input is what? Since we didn't mention any property here, we will go to this SDK and check for the input. So here we are in input. To check the properties of this input, what we have to do, come down and click on this sap.dem.input. It will give you the properties. What properties we are supposed to fill the values? See, type will not hold any value, nothing, nothing, nothing. So what we have to do, we have to go to the superclass. See here it has the value. So for this property, we are going to bind the values from our model. So take this property here. What is your property? Value. So in this case, we have to provide value. Now it is asking for the binding info. Binding info will hold path of the model property, which you want to assign it to this particular property. Go to the model. Where is the model? Model. Check which property you want to assign it to the value. Now we are trying to assign this company name to the value. I will copy this company name. Take. How will I bind it? Slash company name. Okay. Do you guys have any doubt on this? Okay. Now we will execute to see what is happening. I'll start the debugger. Refresh it. It stopped in the initialization of the method. I'll execute. Here we have created the JSON model. Okay. And we have loaded this particular data to this model. And here we are assigning our model to the view. Now we are going to do the property binding. Execute it. See, you have got yes technologies here. This is how we will do the property binding. Again, I'll explain. This time we will do the property binding for first name. Okay. So,
Mohan here, Bala.
yeah.
Can you show me the data in JSON model in debugging?
Yes. So again, I'll refresh it. Now we are creating a model. Now the model got assigned with the data. What I will do, I will go to the console. You can go to the console and check for the model. See here we have created a model. In this model we are trying to assign the data. In this step only the data has been assigned to the model. So what I will do, O model. Here it shows us we should have 1 second. Here we have nothing. So what I will do, we'll take this one, check. Here it shows what is the path from where we are getting the data, but we should be somewhere finding the data as well. So if I note this parent, Not properties. Here it says no values, but let me do one more thing. I see now. Okay, it is not alive now. See. Title no. Binding in force. Oh, model. Apply from properties. Binding context. Or model is undefined. Okay. So in the initialization part, it is not getting those values, but once it is initialized, if you press, if you handle any other events, then it is showing us the data. See, I have get the model which we have defined here. Okay, using the get model method. If I see this get model method, I could see the value of this. Are you fine?
Yeah, fine. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now we will see how to set the property binding for this first and last name. Okay. To make you guys familiar, this dot get view dot by id. What is the id of these two? id first name, id last name. First name dot bind property. What is the first parameter should do? Property of the view for which you want to bind it. So what is the control here? The control is input. So we have to find the particular property which can hold the particular path. So in our case, value is the property. I'll say value, comma. We should give the path from the model. What is the path? How can I define the path now? If I say slash, it will go to the control goes here. So to access employees, I should use slash employees, and then I want to access this particular first name. To get inside, again I have to add slash. Okay, so slash What is his first name? Okay. Now we will see. We didn't get the data. We'll check why we didn't get. So there is a spelling mistake. Disconnect only. Employee slash. Okay, since we have given the array, we have to mention the index as well. So it is our 0th index and first name. Save and execute. See, name 01 has come. The reason it didn't show up is we didn't mention the index. For example, if our JSON doesn't have the array, if I remove the index, this time it will show because we don't have array mentioned in the JSON format. See, it is showing here. But when you mention the array, we have to mention the index number as well, so that it will differentiate which record you are referring to. If we say index, again I will add one more thing like number 2, 2, 2. Now if I want to refer this first name or this last name, how will I refer? This dot get view dot by id last name dot. See, this is our id from the view, id last name dot bind property. What is the property value? Value, comma. What is the path you are trying to pull it here? So slash employees slash your index number. In this case, your index is 1 here. Okay, 1 slash last name. I will mention like slash employee slash first index slash last name enclosed with semicolon.
There is spelling mistake more.
Okay.
And index missing for first name.
Sorry.
Employee EES.
Okay. Okay, sorry. I mentioned.
And index for first name.
No, I'm trying to assign it to the last name, so that is fine. Check. Last name came, but the first name, sorry, 0 slash. So this is bringing the name from the 0th index, and this is bringing the last name from the first index. So this is how we will do the property binding. So there are two ways of defining the property binding. One way is this one, explicitly you are mentioning that to the property binding, but the other way is you can comment it by toggle block. Once you set the model, you can go to the view, and in the view as well you can bind it. For example, what I have done, company name, first name, last name. I'll take this particular path, go to the view, and my value should be under the value property of input. So whenever you mention the data binding, please mention it with the curly braces. Inside you will have the path, company name. When it comes to the first name and last name, value, closed with semicolon. Again, value, this is our path. Now let us see. See, we didn't mention any data binding in the controller level. We just assigned the model to the view. What I am doing, I am passing the path directly to the value property of the input. We'll see now. See, we have got the values. So there are two ways of doing the property binding. One is you can do it in the controller. If not, you can do it in the view itself. Okay, I hope you guys understood what is property binding. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, here O model is the default model. So can you, so I have multiple models. So how can I binding that property value to particular control?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Here,
So here
O model
we have,
is O model is default model, right?
yeah.
So I have multiple models in the init method.
Okay.
So how can I binding second model of data to particular controller?
Okay. So in this particular context, we are using only one model. But if you see the SAP UI5 architecture, we will tend to use the part called component. Okay. So if you see the project of SAP UI5, we have the particular file called component, where you have the opportunity to mention n number of models, and you can define any one of the model as a default one. So when you want to use another model, you have to give the model name and then slash and then your field names. Okay. You will mention your model name and then slash and then your path of the field. This thing we will see once we come to the component. Okay. This I will show you how we can use the multiple models.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay, we'll have 10 minutes break and then we'll start at 12:10. So far we have seen about the property binding, and now we will see about the element binding. Okay. So here element binding is nothing but what means it allows you to bind the elements to the specific object of the model. So what I have told. So if it is our data model, okay, this is referred as an object, and this is also referred as an object. This is an individual object and this is an individual object. So this element binding, if you want to display the details of a particular employee, okay, you can use this element binding. Still you can use the property binding, but you have to mention the relative path to every fields, right? But if you mention the element binding, you just mention slash employees slash the index. If you mention this particular path, then our current SAP UI5 application will access all the child properties of this particular object. So we don't need to mention every path like slash employee slash 0 slash emp name, like emp desk or emp cell. You don't need to mention these static path in our UI5 views. If you just mention this particular path, it will be able to access all the child properties of the current project. We will see how we can do this element binding. So we'll go to the view, and first let me create one toolbar. I'll go to the demo kit, check the reference page. Inside the page, I'll create one subheader. Yes, we have the subheader. I'll go to the view. This subheader returns type is sap.m.ibar. I'll click on it. I'll go to the ibar, and I can use any of this direct implementation of this ibar. Let me use bar. I'll take bar. And then go to its properties. So I want to place something at right content. So this right hand content will hold any control which is of property sap.ui.core.control n times. This is an array. Okay, n times. If I go to control, I will add a combo box. Combo. Try to add a combo box. I don't have any properties. I have an item. Item, what it will hold? It will hold sap.ui.core.item. What is the item properties? Text. I will take this item, core item. What is the property of the item? Text. Take text. I will say visit name. See, item can hold a number of objects. correct? I'll go here. See, item can hold a number of sap.ui.core.items. So that's why I am again defining item text. What is our take name to? So here what I have done, I have created one subheader. Inside that I have added one combo box which will have these two items. But we should have some labels. Content label employee. We'll say design bolt. Income. We'll see what is the error. Not found. Combo box. Items. Subheader. Let's see if it works. Okay, this is working, but go to the page. We'll have subheader. Inside the subheader, we have a bar. Inside the bar, we have the aggregation content right. We will add a label.
Content right is that a core library, I think.
Sorry.
Core library. Content right in core library.
It's okay, but it's correct only, no?
It will take the default library sap.m, right? For content right.
See, this is under sap.m. So we have already defined sap.m here. So it is a default one, so we don't need to specify it. Label text test. I'll remove this. Invalid XML. Oh, subheader. Yes, it came. Test. Now I will add combo box, selection, it is having items dot item text. You can write name. We'll see if it comes. Yes, we have got. So it will say select employee. I'm going to add one more thing. Item text name 02. Okay, we have got the combo box, and what I'm trying to do is if I select name 1, I should get the details of name 1. If I select name 2, I should get the details of name 2. So if you see the element binding, what I said, it is to bind a particular object based on your selection. If you want to access any of the child elements inside an object, you can mention, you can use element binding. You don't need to use property binding. Property binding, we have to statically specify from which index it is coming and from what is the field names and everything. But if you go with the element binding, just you need to mention the index number, and then it will give the access to access all the field names, all the properties of the particular object. Okay, so we have defined it here, and we will define one event handler here. When we select, it should display it should display as the details, right? So we have to go with an event. We'll check what is the event available for combo box. Combo box. What is the event? Selection change. Selection change on comp change. This is any name you can give. Okay. And I will go to the controller. That function, you are going to define it here as a function. Now we will set a debugger. So what it should do, if I select this particular name, it should go to the on com change function. Okay, this is the event handler which I have defined for the combo box. See, if I go to this, I have defined this event, okay, for the combo box. I forgot to save it. So I will select this. So it is stopping here. Now you have to get the details of which employee you have selected. Okay, before selecting the index. For example, if in the JSON we have two employee details. You should know which employee you have selected first. Then you can go with the index. If it is the first employee, then go with the index 0. If it is second employee, go with the index 1. First, let me get the value which we have selected in the view. Okay, so go to the console. How we will access this particular value? By using ID. Check the ID of a combo box. Where is this ID combo? And go to here. This dot get view dot by ID here. You have got the list with the value name 1. See, we have selected a name 1. So what it is giving? Value name 1. Now we have to get the link, the path to access this value. Okay. If you don't know how to retrieve this value, you can still go to this SDK and click on this event. They have given some predefined path already. So for the selected item, what they are saying, you can use this particular path. You can copy this. You can go here. What event we have triggered? I guess we didn't specify O event. Yes, we didn't specify. See, every function will have its event listener. Okay. You can mention it as O event. I will go again, refresh. So select name 2. Here the debugger has stopped it. I'll go here. This dot get view dot by ID. See, here value came as 02. You can access like this as well, and also you can go to the SDK and use this path as well to get the selected item. We'll take this path and say our event listener is O event. O event dot get parameters dot selected item. See, here also we are seeing the value name 2. It is under the property called text. So as we know earlier, for every property the framework will have two methods, default method, right? One is getter method and setter method. So select item dot, if you want to get the text, how you will do? Get text. You have got the name now. So take this path, go to your controller, store the selected value in a variable like cell employee, selected employee, selected employee. So what this path will give you? This path will give you the selected employee from the view. Now you have got the selected employee. Again, I will save it and execute it. So if I go number 2, what this O cell AMPC, if you place the cursor on this particular field, it will show you the value which it has got. Okay. So now it is having name 02. Now we have to go to the model and check, and we have to pull the details of this particular employee record. Since we have selected name 2, we have to show the details of this particular employee. For this we are going to use the element binding. I will close this. Now go to the controller. So far you have got the value, got the selected employee from view. Now what you have to do, you have to write a condition like, if this particular employee is so and so, then assign the path so and so. Like if I will say O cell EMP is equal to, what is the name? Name 02. If it is name 02, then path, what is a path? How can I access the path? This path slash employees slash 1. This is the first index. Okay, so I will do like slash employees slash 1 slash. Now you could see like, see, if the name is this, in the path what we are assigning, please take the values of first index of employee. So this is the first index. If the name is name 02, we are telling the program to take, get the control of the first index record. This is the first index record. This is the 0th index record. So we have assigned the path here 1. If O cell EMP, what is the name? Name 1. What it has to do? We'll declare this path outside. So what it has to do is path is equal to, what is a path? Slash employees slash 0th index slash 0th index slash end with semicolon. Okay, now we have assigned the path, respective path for each employee. Now what we have to do is like bind property we have the syntax called bind element. How do I find? Go to SDK, go to the controller, because in controller we are writing the program. Go to the controller, go to the controller. After the by ID, we should use our bind element method. Where is the by ID? By ID, click on the return type, check for bind element. See, here we have the method called bind element. Take this bind element, go there. You will write this dot get view dot by ID. What is the ID? Here we are going to assign for this complete simple form, correct? So define an ID for this simple form, IDSF, because we are having our fields under the simple form. If you assign it to the root, these child elements will retrieve it from the root. Okay, so what we will do, we have defined an ID for simple form. For this simple form, we are going to bind the element. This bind element will accept the path which we have found here. Okay, you can take this path and give it here. So based on the selection, the path will be assigned to this particular simple form. This is, we are referring a simple form here by using the ID. Okay, so we will go with the debugger now. X here. Select name to. It has come here. Okay, so O cell EMP has got name 02, which we have selected here, name 02. So here we have written a condition: if O cell EMP is name 02, what path we should assign? Should assign /employee/1/. So it will go inside this particular condition. It has assigned the path as this one. Now it has the access to access the first index record from the model. Okay, it is coming here. This is failing. Now what we are doing, we are getting the reference of our simple form from the view. Where is our view? We are getting the reference of this simple form. Okay, and we are binding an element with the path which we have found here. Okay, right now we are binding with /employee/1. Now we'll see here. So we didn't get any value. We'll check why we didn't get any value. This is coming from the old binding. We'll remove that as well. We'll check here. Okay, it is coming from, see, we have given a path like this. We should not give the path like this. Remove this /first name / last name, date of birth, what we have. We'll go to the date picker and check. Date picker and check. Sorry, this is deprecated. So use the value property. We have okay, we have the value property here. You can use it. Value is equal to what is the path DOB. Don't need to mention it slash because we have already mentioned the slash in the controller. See, we have the slash already. Now till here it is done. For street number we have to add it. For street, what is a parameter which can hold the value of an input is value. Go here and check. If you still don't know, input, check for input, check for its properties. Here we don't have the value property. Go to the superclass. See, the property of the input is value. Add a value here. So now street. Again input. So the property of an input is street. Then number. Add the number here. We have zip code and city. For this also we don't have anything. So value What is the path for zip code? Zip code. Zip code. In value. Zip code. City. City. Finally, we have the country value. What is the value of the country? India. Okay, we have done with our element binding. So we'll execute now. This yes technology is coming because we have used the property binding. You can see here. Go to the view and check. See, I have used the property binding. Slash company name will directly access slash will be having the control here. Okay, if I say slash company name, it will be having this is technologies. So now using the bind element, we are going to access either this employee details or this employee details without giving the static path. Okay. Now I'll select for name to see. Value has been populated. If I say name 1, see name 1 is populated. You did not mention any static path like slash employees, slash zeros, slash first name, slash employees, slash zero, slash last name. You haven't mentioned any static path. You just gave the relative path to this particular path. We have assigned this path already. Okay, based on this path, it will be able to access the child properties of this particular object. Okay, like this we will achieve the bind element. Do you have any question on this?
Mohan, one question.
Yes.
If we want to get all the model data, it's okay in a table or array, and then we perform this search like what is the, and then get the length. And instead of specifying this 0, 1, we should write this variable index, whatever the index we get, whether it's a 0 or it's a 1. So can we do that? I mean, how we can get the total model value data?
Yeah. As like property binding, as like property binding and the element binding, we have one more binding called aggregation binding here. See, so far we have seen these two.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is for a single property, property of a model. You can give the static path to of the model to your view. It will directly read the value. Okay. Now, right now what we have seen is it is element binding.
Okay.
We will give the root slash sorry. It is our root, right? Employees slash 0. It was our root. If you see the JSON, this is our root. Sorry. This is our root. Yeah. So to access this, we are pointing with index 0 or 1. But so if I want to get all the values of an employee, that time I will go with this aggregation binding.
Okay. So these two are for the single one, right? Property and element for the single one. Right?
Yeah. This is for the single field. This is for an object.
Okay.
This is for the complete list or a table. Something. If you want to bind every record to a table or a list, that time you will go with the aggregation binding. This we will see. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
This we will see now. Yeah. I will show you. So.
Hi Mohan, one more question.
Yes.
Here we have a drop down combo box where we have only two values, so we can write if condition. What if we have a huge amount of data like 100 or 1000 entries? Based on that we need to map the model, so we can't write that many if conditions.
We can write actually. I will show you that example as well. Okay, in tomorrow's class, I mean in Wednesday's class, how we will pick the particular information of a particular product when we go for the OData service. Okay, so far we are seeing the client-side models like JSON, XML, so and so. So when we go to the OData model, we will have huge amount of data, right? So as you told, we cannot write all if conditions like go to this, go to this, go to this. So in that time we have different approach. We will explain it on Wednesday's class, okay? Because if we explain, then you will get it, but other people will not get. They'll get confused. Yeah. So far, any questions? I guess we can see this aggregation binding on Wednesday, okay, along with the OData. So you will get the complete picture. I guess we can wind this session up. If you guys have any question, you can ask.
Mohan, can you send me your this new app.json file content? Because sometimes we do have
yeah. Sorry.
Sometimes we do have like we do feel like the resource is not available in this library. This.
Yes, I will send you.
Okay, thank you.
I drafted it, but.
Hello, Mohan, can you just send it to everybody? That would be better actually.
Yes, I'm sending to everybody. See.
Okay.
Yeah, I will add the content of today's class as well and then send, okay?
Okay.
We'll send in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yes. Okay, guys. Bye. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Okay, sure. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks.